Cool. And we are live.
Let's go.
Not actually live, but we're recording.
Well,
Because we can cut this part, right?
What?
cut whatever we want. We're not live. We can do whatever we want to do.
Boy, we run
This is
them.
our time.
Oh, cool. Well, welcome to episode dose of Bourbon and Bowhunting. Good to be back on the mic, spitting absolute fire.
Let's go, boy.
Dude. Good to be back.
Matt, we've missed you.
I've missed you too. I've been out and about all over the place. So, yeah. Been all over the place in fishing and scouting and all sorts of different kind of things. Yeah. It was a couple weeks ago for July 4th. I was camping with a few friends, and this was like a really nice like Airbnb reservation where like, did you guys know that they like you can like reserve sites like campsites on Airbnb?
I did not know that.
It was pretty awesome. Just randomly stumbled onto it. There's also another really cool website. We are not endorsed by them, by the way. They're called hipcamp.com. It's like basically Airbnb for campsites, but apparently there's places that you can reserve stuff on
Called
Airbnb.
Hip Camp?
Yeah, hipcamp.com.
Where'd
really
you go
cool.
camping, by the way?
It was around Maryland. So basically it was this dude's property, and there's this like really nice, I guess like front yard. It's kind of like in the middle of nowhere, and just this like long lane of kind of forest and grass intermingled, and this old barn with like a little spigot. So it was just kind of like a plop down wherever you want kind of a deal. And we just found a spot, and we didn't even notice it at first, but there was like this tiny little like, I don't know, probably like 30 feet across, maybe like 200 feet long. It was almost more of like a little stream, but it was like a pond just kind of tucked away into like a hillside, like right on the border of like this forest. And fortunately I brought my fishing stuff with me. I mean, how could I not? It's always in my car. But
Always prepared.
I decided to like throw a few lines just to see like, what did you say?
I said always prepared.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, and just like decided to throw like a Z-Man Ned rig on, and I wasn't expecting much. Like there's probably like a catfish living in there, like some ancient catfish that's been living in there since the beginning of time. But to my surprise, like second like line I throw in, I'm just jigging it, taking my time. We haven't even set up camp yet. I'm just kind of scoping it out and not expecting anything. And all of a sudden, like as soon as I like almost get it back to shore, just this huge, just rip. And I try to hook it, and this thing's a monster. And I was like, okay, wow, well, this ancient catfish was just begging to be caught. I start like fighting it, and it's a good fight. It probably takes me like a minute or two to actually get it in shore after I like finally adjusted my action. But got my action adjusted and reeled it in, and I can't even lift this fish up out, like because it's kind of on this weird hillside. I'm like standing like 4 feet above like the actual like water's edge, and like there's no like beachy area or anything like that, kind of just a drop off. And like I get it onto like the grassy part, and it's like this monster of a largemouth, and it's just huge. Look forward to the post. It's going to be going up this Sunday, so you guys will be able to see that fish that I
You were
caught.
able to weigh him? Did you see how much he weighed? He looked like a fat
Yeah, he weighed 3.8.
Nice.
Yeah, 3.8 pounds. So it was a hefty
Big
bug.
chunky bass.
Oh yeah, arch toad. Yeah, that was just totally out of nowhere. That was just I didn't expect it. You know, it's kind of like how fishing goes. Like maybe you just go out to relax or something like that, but you just get surprised by something that comes your way, or
Yeah.
not. I mean, that's kind of the joy of fishing. You just
It's
get to,
cool when you can catch them in those like out of the way type places where you wouldn't really expect anything either.
yeah,
Those,
exactly.
like tucked away ponds in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean that's why I bring my fishing gear anywhere I go. It's just if there's a body of water, might as well. It's
Yeah.
relaxing anyway. It's almost like nature therapy in a way.
Hmm.
But yeah, no. So like later that camping trip, the next night, I released him. I mean this fish was just pristine. No like signs of like being hooked before. It was just It was just a very nice fish, very good looking, very healthy. I mean that thing must have been living in there for like the last like 3 to 5 years. I mean this thing was just snacking on like frogs all day long. Um, and yeah, I released it. I was like, all right, maybe there's another largemouth in here that it can multiply with. Um,
Well, we can only hope, that it finds a mate and it will start a little family one day.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
Exactly.
be prosperous,
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, but I the rest of my group that like, so we kind of got out there in like 2 trips, and we were the first group out there, first half of us. And I decided to throw him back in, and like the rest of the group came out and they were like, oh well, we should have just kept it, we could have had dinner. And I was like, well shoot, you got a point there. And I tried to fish him back up, no luck later that day, and I was really bummed. And then the next day, I was still trying different things, like tried to throw in a few different like colored wraps, like a frog, more Ned rigging, but no luck. It wasn't until like later that evening where actually like I wish I got footage of it. I really should have been recording, but this huge I thought I like I saw like a huge like kind of like I guess like blast of like murky water just like surface. And I was like, oh, well, that's weird. Maybe I like snagged a branch or something. I don't know, something weird. But I wasn't snagged on anything. And like right around my bait, I like pulled it up out of the water. I saw this like kind of like object emerge out of the water. Maybe not out of the water, but like really close to the surface so I could get like a view of it. And like, I was like, what is that thing? Wait, that's like an actual catfish. This was the catfish that I was talking about. The god of the beyond and of
Yeah.
um
The Lord of the Underworld. Yeah.
indeed he was definitely the baron of that swamp. And yeah, he was just a hefty bugger, like like youth sized like footballs. Like his head was the size of one of those footballs. This thing had to be like, oh my gosh, probably like 20-30 inches long. I wouldn't be surprised. This thing was just huge. And I was just like, okay, I mean, maybe he liked what I threw at him. So I kind of just like dangled it right in front of his nose, like, like a little carrot on the nose trick. And he like snapped at it. But then like, I just didn't hook him fast enough, or I don't know. But he just spit it back out, and like that's the moment where we went to war. So like, have you guys ever like fished for catfish before?
Like once, but I wasn't very good at it.
Yeah.
I
I've
have.
Caleb?
only caught like maybe 2 or 3 catfish in my life.
Yeah.
I've fished specifically for catfish before. Not typically, but I've done it a little bit here or there.
Nice. What kind of like bait did you use?
I think I just use like hot dogs or Spam, like
Yeah.
it's that kind of stuff.
Maybe like
Yup.
bread, I think. It was a long time ago.
Yeah.
What would you use, Matt?
Well, I mean, we used what we had on hand. I mean, it was a camping trip, and we had like some deli meat on hand.
Nice.
So I rigged that up. Ideally, I would have done like the dough ball trick, honestly, like just like grab some like bread and just kind of like knead it around the hook. Yeah. But honestly, the spam trick, like, I mean, honestly, like anything smelly is gonna like get a catfish going for it. I mean, they eat anything that smells or is food or is anything related to edible. But yeah, I used so I rigged up 2 hooks, and like a weight so that it would just like stay put, and I like threw that in to like the middle of the pond, kind of near where I saw it last. I didn't try to spook him, so I threw a little further out, and like I was like, all right, I'm just gonna like leave these hooks with some deli meat on them for a while, check back in like an hour or something, maybe he's still hungry. And yeah, I just chilled out, had dinner, had some beer, and then like I'm like, crap, like it's been 2 hours. I've totally forgot to check it. I run back up to like oh, and the way I had to like secure my rod was just so ridiculous. There was like this little sapling, and like I mean we didn't bring like any shovels with us, but like I mean terrible camping. But I mean, hey, like I basically just like the sapling had like 2 like branches coming out of it. So like literally I just like twisted them around the rod, and I mean cheap fishing. But yeah. And I pulled the hooks out, and there's nothing on them, and there was 1 hook missing. Like literally the line, like the meat was gone, and then I have braid line, and this stuff is like 30-pound braid, so like it's not easy to chew through, but this shit was chewed through. Like it was all gnarled up and stuff, and like one of the hooks was just gone, so I'm guessing he just ate it. Hopefully he's okay. But yeah,
Yeah.
I did that exact thing 2 more times. No hooks missing, but the meat was just gone each and every single time. I don't know if I just like wasn't using a big enough hook or something, but yeah, that was just a fight. I've never actually like gone to war with a fish before, but I mean, I consider myself honored to talk about that thing.
Sounds like a tough river monster right there.
Oh yeah. Indeed.
I don't know if even Jeremy Wade could have pulled him in. You know,
No. He would have outwitted Jeremy quickly.
Yeah, he fought a good fight.
Yeah. Have you guys ever like gone to war with like a deer or some kind of like animal, trying to like catch it or like shoot it, or even just like scouting it?
So the buck I shot last year,
Yeah.
the first time I saw it, I was just scouting out this piece of land that I hadn't scouted out before, and I went there, and it was during hunting season. But I was like, I'm not going to bring my bow. I'm like an idiot. It's like, I'm not going to bring my bow. I'm just going to go check it out real quick. And so I go back there, and I see this old, like, decrepit tree stand. So I kind of climb up the ladder to get a look around. And I'm, like, midway up the ladder, and I see something moving. And this big buck starts, like, walking towards me. And he doesn't see me at all. And he walks, like, around and around, and he walks right under the tree that I'm in, and like goes right past me and keeps going, and like stops like 15 yards in front of me, and just like kind of looks around and then meanders off on his way. And I'm just like watching this whole time, like kicking myself for not bringing my bow. And then the next time I saw him, I was hunting from the ground, and so when I saw him, he came through at like, I think it was like 1 p.m. So I went back there. I think it was during the rut, and I was like, all right, I gotta try if I can get this guy. So I went back there like 12 or something. I was sitting for like maybe 20 minutes. I was in the middle of these bushes on the ground, and I see him coming again. He's taking the same route that he took the other day, and he's coming around, and he's like maybe like 15 yards away, but there's so much thick brush between us. I gotta wait for him to step out like a few more steps, and there's an open shooting lane, and everything's perfect. The wind's perfect. He's coming, and then the wind just shifts, and it goes from me to him, and it hits him like a slap in the face. Like it has like a physical effect on him, and he just looks right at me, and he can't see me because it's so thick, but he looks like directly at me. He knows exactly where I am, and like has this crazy look in his eye, and then just takes off the other way. I'm like, oh my god, it's so frustrating.
Wow.
And so I was just like, wow, there's nothing I can do there. It's like I can't predict the wind. So then the next time I see him, I set up in a different spot opposite of where I was, the first time. And this time he walks about 10 yards in front of me, maybe less, maybe like 8. And I drop him like, pretty quick. Finally able to put him down. But yeah, that was like a battle that we fought. He got me the first couple rounds, but I was able to close it out pretty good. So.
Wow. That's awesome.
I have a similar one, actually. This was in Eaton Rapids. So I'd just gotten access to this property and had a stand set up in an area where I figured I could kind of glass and see a bit more relative. I mean, it's still pretty thick in there, so it's not like actually glassing, but for the Midwest, it was close to it. So I go down opening day, and it was funny because I get up in my stand, and I got there really early because it's opening day, and I was very motivated. So I'm there like an hour before daylight, maybe a little more, just chilling in the dark, and I see.
Was this regular season or was this like preseason?
This was bow. This was both openers, okay. October 1st.
Gotcha.
So then I see actually a neighbor comes in and goes up a climber like 30 yards away from me. So that was frustrating. But in either case, saw a bunch of deer, and then this really big-bodied 9-point. I see him sort of shuffling through this marshy area a ways off, and I catch a glimpse, and I think I saw a rack. I'd already seen a bunch of does, so I was making sure it wasn't one of them. And then he steps out at like 50 yards, which this was my first year bow hunting, so I wasn't comfortable with that shot. Still wouldn't be right now. So, but yeah, I ended up not being able to take a shot, and he meandered off. And then like a couple of weeks later, I was walking to my car after the hunt. It was like maybe noon, something like that. And the homeowner rolls up the driveway and was like, "Oh, did you see that huge buck?" I was like, "No," but then I like look down the driveway, and it's that same buck just hauling ass down the driveway. No. And then unfortunately, well, I was happy for him. The neighbor ended up shooting him. I think first week in November during the rut, the neighbor got a shot at him and tagged him. So I got to at least help drag him out and get a look at him, which was kind of cool, even though I didn't end up tagging him myself.
Wow, that's nice. He was just taunting you.
All the taunts.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know.
I wish I could tell you you'd get him next year, but sorry.
He's gone. He's passed on from this life.
A moment of silence.
So, have you guys been getting like, so it's kind of a change of subject, but have you been seeing and getting like a lot more ticks this summer than ever before in your life?
Yes.
I don't know if it's just because this summer I'm spending like a little bit more time out in the woods. I don't think that's the case because I usually hang out in the woods a lot, and every time I go out to like scout or go for a hike or something, I'm getting at least like 2 or 3 ticks every time.
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
just like pulling them off me in the car. There's a couple times when I was sleeping and I would feel them. I would wake up to them crawling on me, and I'd like have to get up and go flush them down the toilet.
Oh,
But they're everywhere this year. I feel like it's never been this bad before.
yeah. No, I definitely agree. Like, I mean, when I go fishing, I'm just like walking. I'm usually walking through woods to some like very isolated like pond.
Yeah.
Because they're few and far between in Maryland. But yeah, I most of the time I'm like walking through brush, and I mean I just scrape by like any sort of like long grass or any sort of like leafy plant, and yeah, I usually got like 2 or 3 on me. I think the worst I ever like had it was like a month ago. I found 6 on me, like little like little ones. The what are they called, like nymphs, I think, like their first stage. But yeah, like, and apparently yeah, East Coast has it bad right now, but also fun fact, Maryland is actually 20% of all Lyme disease cases occur here in Maryland.
Oh my
So
Oh, nice.
yeah, it's pretty crazy stuff. And yeah, I feel you, Jim. It's pretty bad.
It's brutal. I feel them crawling on me all the time now. I mean, they're not there, but I just feel them. I'm developing like a sort of psychosis.
Yeah. Honestly, more scared of Lyme disease, like getting Lyme disease, than of COVID. I mean, my heart
Yeah.
goes out to people like who are really like anxious about it. I mean, it's very worthy of being anxious of, but like Lyme disease isn't something to mess with. It's
It
a
doesn't
pretty
go away,
scary
I
and
don't think.
life-changing
You just
thing.
have it for your lifetime.
Yeah.
It's terrifying.
Yeah. As soon as you see that, like that bullseye kind of rash on you, like get yourself to a doctor, or else it's kind of game over. I mean, not in terms of your life, but like health wise.
Yeah, no, Lyme disease is terrifying.
Yeah. 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 Serious stuff. How bad has it been in Jersey?
It's been horrible. Every time I step in the woods, I get ticks all over me. And
Yeah.
I'll be driving back from a hike and I'll feel it crawling up my neck and I'll chuck it out the window. And I'll get back home and I'll be chilling. And like if I don't shower right away, I'll just be pulling them off me like while I'm eating dinner. I'll like, oh, there's another tick. And then they're everywhere.
That's so bad. That's so bad. Well, their season should be like kind of like waning now, right?
I hope so. I don't want to be like hunting in
Is there any kind of like
September.
repellent stuff for
I'm
ticks?
sure
Yeah.
they'll probably be around, but hopefully they're a bit diminished. What's that?
Is there any kind of repellent for ticks?
Well, I don't think the normal like off bug spray things work on ticks.
They say
Like the
that
normal
DEET
stuff that you would
works.
usually use for mosquitoes and biting flies and stuff. I think you have to get, I'm sure they have it, but it's like a specialty spray.
Yeah.
It's like very specific to ticks, I think.
Yeah. They say that like DEET works, but like I'm very skeptical. I mean, you're not gonna like spray it all over your legs because they're just gonna crawl up anyways. You know, like you're not
Well, I'm
just gonna
pretty sure I've
decide
had
to
a
put it
bunch of
down.
them while, like after I've sprayed bug spray all over me.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
wearing like knee-high muck boots pretty much anytime I'm in the woods. So those are pretty nice for not getting bugs or being worried about poison ivy or anything because you're pretty well covered.
Yeah.
Not like they can't get in still, but I feel like it's helpful at least.
Yeah. True.
You gotten any ticks out there, Caleb? Are they as bad in Michigan?
Not that I've noticed, although I haven't been able to get out a ton as of yet. I've checked out 2 of my properties so far.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll check out the 3rd and hopefully 4th. Well, the 3rd I'll definitely check out because I'm moving some stands off of it to the other ones. But the 4th property, I'm not sure if I'll get out before or if I'll just sit it for gun. But yeah, I don't really know.
I think I had a Lone Star tick on me the other day. Have you heard about those ones?
No, what are those?
They're native to the East Coast, but a lot of them carry a disease or something that makes you allergic to red meat
Oh,
Oh, I've heard
for
about
the
that.
rest of your life, and there's no cure.
oh my goodness.
It's like a hunter's like nightmare.
That's a curse.
But they're like super, super small, and they got this dot in the middle of their back. That's why they're called the Lone Star tick.
Hmm.
But be especially wary of those. I think I'd rather get Lyme's disease than that one.
Yeah, that's
Boy.
that's some scary stuff. You said it earlier. I mean, that is a hunter's nightmare. Sheesh. I mean, especially if you're like harvesting for meat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those-
Yeah. It's honestly pretty shocking. Like when you're skinning a deer and you just kind of take a look at their like between the fur, and it's pretty nasty, especially like around the head. I don't know.
like
I
the
find
skin, or what are you
I
referring?
mean just how much like ticks can be on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Pretty nasty stuff. Like honestly, like before, I think last year when I was just like, I was just scoping out like a deer, and there's some deer that like run around like this park near me. Sometimes if you're close to them, you like see like a black dot like kind of emerge from like between their fur and just like kind of like go right back in, and it's just like, wow, you are disgusting.
You're gonna give me nightmares.
You're majestic, but you're disgusting. I'm sorry.
I remember there was a episode of Meat Eater where Ranella pulls out like this massive fly out of this coos
Oh, yeah.
nose, and it's just
It
like,
lives in like the back of its throat,
yeah,
and it's like it has to deal with that living there for its whole life.
yeah.
Horrible.
Oh my goodness. I'm not normally a squeamish person, but that was one where I was just like, ugh.
I think they're called botfly larvae, and they
Yeah.
crawl in through the nose, and then they just hang out in the back of the deer's throat for however long it is there. I don't know, maybe a year or something.
Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. Ticks have been pretty bad. Have you heard about the ticks that like cause paralysis? They're like native to Australia. This is kind of an interesting thing that like they're like twice as large as like American ticks, so they're and like twice as fast, so they're like sprinting up you when you get them. I watched like a video about them a couple days or a
Jeez.
couple weeks ago. Oh yeah, it's freaky stuff.
You should post
But funny enough, like
sometime.
sorry, what?
You should post that video to our story sometime.
Yeah, seriously, it's creepy, but yeah. So apparently in Australia, they don't have like protocol for treating Lyme's disease there. And interestingly enough, since like travel's gotten like really popular, like just honestly accessible, people like traveling all over the world like have been introducing ticks to Australia, and people have Lyme's disease there that didn't even know it. So like people are like going to like hospitals with like symptoms of, just feeling terrible and fatigue and feverish, and then just like not getting a diagnosis, getting like diagnosed with like depression and like an eating disorder or something like that. And it's crazy to think that like, just species can get around that way.
Yeah.
Like now Australian ticks are like starting to carry Lyme's disease. I don't know if like it's gotten to that point, but at the very least, like ticks have been like American ticks have been introduced to Australia, and it's like kind of a crazy thought. Like imagine that like paralysis tick like come to the States. Oof, duh. No thanks.
That's on top of like all the other terrible shit that's in Australia that can kill you.
Yeah, seriously.
Everything
Dude.
in Australia.
Yeah.
I remember Adam Greentree, the bow hunter. He was on Joe Rogan's show, and he was trying to convince him to come out to Australia with Cam Haines too. And Joe was like, No, there's way too many things that can kill me over there. I'm fine sticking with my elk.
You don't want to be crawling around in the woods in Australia, because you'll either get stung by a scorpion or bit by a snake or pulled in the water by an alligator, or like
Seriously.
any number of horrible things could happen to you.
Split in
Rest
half
of
by a
it, too.
buffalo. One of those
Yeah.
cave buffaloes.
Oh yeah, those things are massive.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Apparently, like, there's like a huge population of people that like hunts cats because they have like a huge feral cat problem there.
Yeah.
Interestingly
We have
enough.
a big feral cat problem here too.
Do we?
Yeah,
Really? I had no idea.
In Jersey or the States?
in the States in general.
Okay.
Hmm.
I know we have a big hog problem.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
they're slowly crawling north. I think that there's some herds that have gotten to Michigan, I'm pretty sure. Like the lower
yeah.
part of Michigan at the very least.
I'm pretty sure in Michigan that there is like open season on them pretty much, kind of like coyotes. I'd have to double check that, but I want to say that it is. Even though it's
Huh.
not like a huge problem in Michigan yet, it's getting to a stage
No,
it could be.
I mean, those things breed like no other. I mean, you have to take care of those. I mean, Texas is just like plagued with those. Most of the southern states are like they're a farmer's nightmare, and even like hunting, like they tear everything up. They eat everything, and just I mean they do some big like environmental impact on like forests and places where deer live.
No. They breed so fast as well. Like that's the hard part. See those
Yeah.
videos of those guys in Texas just up in choppers, just pinging them. Sitting up there with an AR, just going to town.
Texas has like waged all-out war on hogs, and I don't think it's done anything. Like hog numbers have not really been reduced. I don't think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking actually something for us to do this season that would be kind of a cool challenge between the three of us. Is we each try and donate a deer, like the deer meat, to charity for a deer. Like just buy a tag with that in mind.
Can you do
I
that?
like that.
Harvest the doe and try and give back.
I like that.
Charities
I didn't even know
accept like wild game meat.
Yeah, so like I think I was looking it up from Michigan, and there's like a few butcher shops in the area that are like legit, and they'll get the meat tested and all that, and they'll process it. So all you have to do is literally just drop off the deer, and they butcher it and donate it packaged to the charity. I think you might have to pay like 15, $20. I think that's it. So you're out maybe $30, counting your tag, $40, somewhere in there.
Yeah.
But I thought that could be a cool thing for us to do this season.
I like that idea. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll look into it and see if there's like a charity that would accept it around here.
Yeah.
Same in Maryland. I know the hunting community here is pretty. I mean, it's pretty confined to like the western half of the state. I'm sure there's some stuff happening in the east.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Let's see. So I have a question for you guys. If from your experience for hunting, if you had 5 items that you could drop like a decent amount of money, or just items that like you think are the key. So obviously, like, I don't know. For me, bow is the obvious answer for the first one. And then I would probably do either a rangefinder or binoculars. And then probably boots, actually. And release. I'll have to think on my 5th. But what would you
Spend it on, I think. Sounds pretty. Those are all good choices. Definitely a bow, maybe binos after that. bug keeps flying like right by my nose. Right.
Nick, Jim?
Are you sure it's not a tick?
It's a aerial tick, I think. Very dangerous.
They're
We've evolved.
No, Caleb, those are good. I think mine would be similar. Um, I already have warm clothes. I think everyone owns warm clothes. They don't really need to be camo. I mean,
Yeah.
you can spend money on good hunting clothes, great, but I don't think that's a huge. I don't think that's high on the list.
Yeah.
Whereas like a bow, binoculars, rangefinder, release, maybe a sight for the bow.
Yeah. That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're gonna go that route, I wouldn't mind spending some money on like some decent like arrowheads too, because some of the mechanical ones are like really finicky, and like I don't mind spending some top dollar for some like top shelf stuff. You know, like
You
it'd be
can get
worth it.
cheap. Well, cheap-ish. Like the G5 Montex are fixed blades. Like $30 for a pack of 3. They fly
Yeah.
pretty true to the field points. They're nice. I like them.
I might
I'll
need
have
to
to
give
check
it a
those
go, actually. I've been shooting muzzies, which I have no complaints, but I just like to try different ones, different setups.
Yeah. I've been doing the muzzies as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Besides that, like, honestly, like, is there a thing as like a doe call that you can buy? Oh yeah, there is. There is.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
seen you use one. Honestly, I think I wouldn't mind spending some money on that kind of a thing
Yeah.
either. Anything to help you out in the stand. Oh, and I mean, speaking of stands, yeah, I wouldn't. I think a stand is some pretty like money that I wouldn't mind parting with to
Yeah.
get some
Yeah, I might
comfort.
drop some money on like a tree saddle setup or something.
Yeah.
Those
Yeah.
look pretty sweet.
Yeah, I really agree with the boots though. I mean, honestly, like if you're walking around, especially if you're going to be like spot and stalking, like, I mean, you travel like 7, 8, 10 miles on a day. Like,
Mhm.
I think that's like a big one for sure. And especially like if you want them to last like more than a season, I mean, if you're trying to get that to happen, I mean, you should spend some good money. I think I've been wearing a pair of Danners that have been just like immaculate to where it just feels like you're walking on air. I know some people have like complained about some of their different models, but like, I mean, I don't know. I think that's just people being nitpicky about it. I mean, their pairs of shoes usually like go between like $200 to $400. So it's like it's a pretty hefty price that you pay up front, but the comfort and the quality of the build is just impeccable.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the boots for me is a big one because a lot of the areas that I tend to hunt are pretty swampy. I tend to get into marshes and stuff like that. So my feet are for sure getting soaked unless I have like muck style boots on. So I have a pair of frog togs
Nice.
that are mossy oak collaboration, I think, something like that. But yeah, no, they're nice. And yeah, no, I was just thinking about like items to spend money on versus things that you can go cheaper. And like you were saying, like with the clothes, Jim, camo clothes are, I mean, it helps for sure. Like I have all camo gear at this stage, but if you were just getting into the sport, they actually sell like these leaf suits. So it's like camo mesh, top and bottom that you can just zip over the top of like your winter coat or whatever it is you're wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And you could get that for like $40 as opposed to dropping, you know, a couple $100 on a coat and bibs.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, hunting clothing is just expensive too. Like
Yeah.
you get all the top of the line gear. It's like you're spending $100 on a pair of underwear, and like it just goes up from there. So,
Oh yeah. I mean, a boy can dream. You know, one day I'll be outfitted in like full Sitka gear or full
Right.
Sitka gear. There we go.
Full
That's what I
Sitka
want.
gear.
Whole Sitka deer. Yeah. We'll harvest them enough where we can just wear the deer skin. I mean,
Yeah.
why not just pick the deer that way?
that's the idea.
And then a buck just comes up behind you and just goes to town. Yikes.
It does look sweet though when you can get the full get up of like just the one company like Sitka or First Light or Under Armour, and they just set you got the pants, the jacket, the hat, all the gear.
Oh
Sweet.
yeah.
I just stick to Realtree and whatever brand actually makes like the Realtree is sort of here or there, but I just have the same camo print.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Caleb on this one. I particularly like Under Armour. I've been wearing one of their bibs for the last 2 years. I've really been liking that one.
Dude, those are sweet bibs that you have.
Yeah, it's like got that like it's basically like wearing a blanket with legs.
Mm.
It's real nice.
No.
Yeah. That's something I wouldn't part with. Honestly, I think having like a nice base layer too underneath everything, that's worth some money too. Like I think that layering is just the best option you have. And like as long as you have something like, I don't know, waterproof on top and like a nice base layer, it doesn't matter like what you wear on the middle layers if it's cold out.
Yeah. No. The base layers definitely make a huge difference, especially, I don't know, I normally use Under Armour for that kind of stuff. Or actually, I have a Nike one that's like, it's compression gear, but it's like fleece on the inside.
That's nice.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Yeah, I want to upgrade to merino wool, like base layers, maybe this year. They're expensive though. And I don't know if it's, doesn't get super cold in New Jersey. At least it did not last year. So we'll see.
Let's see. Here's another one. What would you guys, if you were to tell your former self as you first started hunting, like a piece of advice or two, like something you wish you knew when you started, what would it be?
Well, I would have wished to know that hunting was even like an option for me, like growing up. Like it never even entered my head. So I grew up in New Jersey. I didn't know any hunters. I didn't know anyone that hunted. I thought it was like something that you get to like. I didn't even know that it was something I could do. It was just never entered my head. And if I had known, like, oh, I can just go do this, I can go buy a hunting license, I can buy a bow and go out in the woods, I think I would have started doing it a lot earlier. But yeah, I wish that I would just have known that it was an option to do it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. What about you?
Yeah. I think I'm kind of with Jim. The accessibility. I didn't grow up hunting either, and it wasn't really until you like really got me into like sitting in a stand with you. That was like my first real experience of hunting, and yeah, I wish I had known that it was more accessible. I think it would have been a conversation with my parents for sure. They're, I mean, they're immigrants, so they just don't really hunt at all. I mean, especially just from like middle of Europe. I mean, it's all city. You don't really hunt out there. Like hunting is more like a very like club sport out there. And I wish I would have known that like it's actually like a very ethical and sustainable thing to do. I think also like for some reason there's this like very pretty awful like perception of hunting like when I was growing up at the very least. It was essentially like it's kind of trashy, like hicks do it, and it's just people who like get drunk in a tree stand. That's it. But it's actually just so much more than that. It's I wish I would have known like how big of an environmental impact it makes, and like how much like actually one person can make an impact on that.
Yeah.
It's a really cool responsibility to take on, and yeah, I wish I could have like grown up with that, like knowing like that kind of seriousness that comes with it, that kind of I don't know, just personal responsibility that you have to like take care of our earth in a sense, and reap the benefits.
No,
Indeed.
hunters are huge for conservation. Just like the money for all the tags and stuff. I forget the percentage, but it's a massive percent of like money for the DNR and wildlife services. So that's definitely an upside to it as well.
Yeah.
It's giving back and also experiencing it while you do it, which is cool.
Yeah. Yeah. What about you, Caleb?
For me, I guess for me, one of the big ones was, so I grew up hunting from a young age, but I don't know, I felt kind of like when I was younger, I had to have all the gear if I wanted to have a shot at shooting something nice, basically. I don't know, there's a few different shows out there where they have like, I don't know, ozonics and stuff like that, which is nice, and I'm sure it helps and all that stuff, but it almost made me like somewhat discouraged to get into it in some ways, because I was like, well, if I don't drop all this money that I don't have, my odds probably aren't great. When in reality, it's just like, no, Caleb, just spend time in the woods and you'll figure it out. Really, that's all that it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think, yeah, just time in the field, and honestly not being worried about being perfect with it either, because I don't know, you can learn something from everything that you're doing in the woods. So like if you're bumping deer, you can pay attention if you make that mistake, if you spook them to tendencies, places they run off to, stuff like that. So everything is a learning experience in a way.
Yeah. I think it's pretty easy to think along the lines of like, oh, I need the top notch gear. I need the best quality bow. I need, the best clothing, the best of everything. But like you said, nothing beats time in the woods. And if you just keep going out there in the woods and, get as many opportunities as you can, then you're going to be successful at some point. And
Yeah.
that's going to make you a better hunter much more quickly than like buying a top-notch bow will.
Absolutely.
My growth from like my first year of bow hunting to my second was actually pretty substantial. Ironically, I killed more deer the first year, but I was also hunting like 4 days a week the entire season, like 4 mornings a week.
Yeah.
So I like set my work schedule, so I was working noon to 8, so I would just hunt like every day I didn't have class in the morning.
I remember that.
When you were at Jackson,
Yeah.
I remember that. You'd always come in to work at 12 every day.
Yeah.
Good times.
Oh yeah. Roll into my house with my camo, and then just put on my normal clothes and walk in from the woods.
Mm-hmm.
Nice and stinky.
Nice and stinky. That's right. Yeah, I guess that would be the big one. Would there be something similar for you with fishing, Matt?
Something that I wish I knew.
Mm.
I wish I knew that more lures existed, and that like I wish I knew that like fishing with like a regular like bobber and hook is not the way to catch like big fish. I mean, you definitely can, but like you're gonna catch like little bluegills most of the time. I wish yeah, like and I think like, contrary to like, I guess, hunting, like, I guess you do need to drop some money on like decent lures to like make an impact on that. I mean, honestly, like maybe not even. You can home make stuff if you want. You can fish with a spoon, for crying out loud. But like at that point, like I think like spending some money on lures and like learning how to fish without like having a bobber in front of you to tell you whether there's a fish on the line or not, and just like feeling it out is just it's something that I didn't like really get into, and I was actually skeptical of until 2 years ago. A little shout out to John Brolin. I found his channel, John B, on YouTube, and like he's the one who like really like showed me like, hey, fishing isn't just for kids or anything like that. It's actually just there's skill involved. There's a lot of joy involved, but there's like also like some techniques that you got to learn. And it helps to have a vast array of different things you can fish with.
Mm.
And it's kind of a hodgepodge of an answer, like what I wish I knew. But if I could sum it all up in one word or a few words, it'd be, I wish I knew that like it took skill in a sense. Yeah.
How long have you been like a serious fisherman, Matt?
Probably for the last 2 years. That's like really when I got into it. I
Mm.
started like dropping more money on just like, I mean, first of all came the tackle box. Well, no, first of all came like a handful of lures, and then I realized, well, I'm not catching things with certain colors or certain like lures, and then I had to buy a box to get more lures, and then I had to buy another box and then I got more lures, and it's
You're an
just,
addict now.
yeah, this is a conversation for another time, but like, I mean, fish have some like odd personalities. Like they sometimes like, you catch a fish on one thing one day, and then the next day they're just not feeling it at all. They're just not hungry for it. And yeah, it's just, they're picky eaters, and they're pickier than any girlfriend you'll ever have. Yeah, they're something else. But yeah, like seriously, I would say 2 years, last 2 years. And I still count myself as an amateur. I just find ponds and fish them, find streams and fish them, kind of just a fish wherever I am, and kind of a thing. But I think the long-term goal with this is like get some kind of John boat and like a little rudder on it, a little engine, a little motor, and I don't know, just shove out into like some rivers and some lakes at some point.
Hell yeah, dude.
Do you ever
Yeah.
see? I'm all up on Ranella today, apparently. But did you ever see Das Boat?
No.
It's a YouTube series done by Meat Eater, and they take this like old junker boat, this small boat, and they go to like 4 or 5 different states, I think, and they have different styles of fishermen in each state, and they all like customize it. So like one guy put like a little grill on the side of it, like a little charcoal grill, and then another one had like a platform to cast off of at the front. So they're all just adding stuff to this boat. Like,
Awesome.
it's a sweet show. I would highly recommend it.
That's awesome. Called Das Boat.
Das Boat.
Yeah, I'll check that out for sure.
Yeah, it's just on YouTube. I think it's 5 or 6 episodes, something like that.
Nice. Yeah, boat is the goal for sure. Yeah.
Do you get a kayak as like an in-betweener, or are you thinking like more just save for the big boat?
I think first get a car with a rack on it,
Yeah.
and then I'll start thinking about a boat.
Just put a rack on your Honda.
Yeah, right. Little Honda Civic.
I
Hauling
can
around.
handle a kayak, no problem.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I got my friend's kayak. I'll throw up on my Prius all the time. Just
Really?
get some ratchet straps. I don't have racks on it. I just put it right on the roof.
Wow. I'm just overthinking it then.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Keep it simple.
True.
Yes. KISS. Keep it simple, stupid.
Very good, Caleb. Thank you.
Point. Shoot. I think that's
All right, fellas.
everything.
Should we wrap this up?
Yeah.
Indeed.
Well, thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of Bourbon and Bowhunting, everyone. Please like and subscribe, and we'll be hoping to get some guests on here as we're getting closer to deer season and stuff, and interview some people that have more experience than we do and stuff. So keep an eye out for that. Yeah. Anything else?
Very cool.
And please leave your feedback down in the comments. We'd love to hear your guys' thoughts, any opinions, or maybe even disagreements with what we said. We'd love to talk to you. We'd love to get to know you. And yeah, we're here.
Very good. Thanks for listening.